Right, so you guys totally guessed it. We are continuing our series from the Polish Museum of Military Technology, and it has only taken 5 videos for me to properly pronounce the title of this place. And we're gonna run you through a whole line of jets, and we're gonna end up at the MiG-21 PFMs. So because there's so many of them, we'll do the higher tier jets in one video, and then there are like MiG-17s and MiG-15s on the backside, so we can do a separate video on that. And there's a sweet thingy at the very end, MiG-23, which is gonna have a separate video on its own, so just like some of the other cool aircrafts like IL-28 and the SU-22 had their own video, so make sure you check around for those on the channel already. So we start off with the SU-20. We did check out the SU-22, so I suppose this is just a smaller brother. And I'll flip around the camera, and it looks like this thing can literally, as a loadout, can carry like everything in the world. And if you look, well, the intake and such is really cool. If you just look down, like underneath the aircraft, like it can carry a cluster of bombs. You can see right there, there's like a rocket pod 1, rocket pod 2, the same thing goes for the other side. It is absolutely insane how much this thing can actually carry for its loadout. We're just gonna have a little look-see down here the side. We'll have the back view later on as well. As I said, there are just so many jets here that this is just going to be like a massive quick run through. You can see some of the cannons just hidden there in the wing up there, and I'll give you a little further away look, an SU-20 for you there, ladies and gents. And we're just going to be moving on. You can see there are some smaller aircraft like MiG-17s, 15s in the back, and we move on to SU-7. And again, I believe, yeah, it's set up right now with 4 rocket pods. Obviously the top of that comes off and it reveals all the rockets inside. Again, the typical intake design as the Soviet era jet aircraft would have, obviously. But yeah, this one's completely laid with rocket pods as well. I suppose you can hook up some gun pods to this thing as well, maybe. And again, the same cannons just there at the wing and the joint almost with the fuselage as well. So yeah, really cool to see this. There are some AA guns, which I'm really not gonna get into because there's like so much stuff that this is gonna take me like forever. SU-7, in Polish it says BKL. I don't know what that would be in English, but again, this reminds me very much of the very first one that we looked at, the SU-20. Again, you can see you can hook up it with like plenty of bombs, and there's like a rocket pod on either of the wings. Yeah, again, exactly the same mounting for those cannons. And I believe like there's like maybe some fuselage difference. This seems a bit like a little cousin to that guy maybe, but generally they're fairly similar, I would say. I'm not gonna say the same, but fairly similar. We are moving on to yet another SU-7 BKL. This one's, yeah, laid out with all the possible rocket pods you can actually think of. There's 2 on the wing, 2 underneath, yeah, and another 2 on the other side. I believe those are rocket pods. If I'm mistaken, make sure you correct me in the comments below. But yeah, I think these 2 jets are exactly the same, so it's not like these guys are short of jets. We are moving on, and there's yet another one exactly the same. However, this one's the SU-7 BKL. Again, I don't know, that's in Polish, so that abbreviation is probably different in English. This guy right down here actually have 2 gun pods with 2 barrels sticking out of each, so you get 4 cannons right down in those pods, and again same old rocket pods underneath the wings. Okay, that's a bit too bright. Let's move on, and we finally get to the MiG-21 family here. This is the MiG-21 PS. That's what it says in Polish, but I know for sure that in English this is the MiG-21, the PFM. The thing below, I cannot tell you what that is. It could be a rocket pod, it could be a gun pod, although it has like fins in the back, probably for aerodynamic reasons. So I'm not entirely sure what it is carrying, but compared to the SU generation, the SU has really swept wings towards the back and the fuselage is much bigger. The MiG-21s are kind of sleeker, and it almost has like a Delta type wing, like a Dorito triangle wing on a MiG-21. The sun is so harsh today, but I hope you can see, guys. We move on to this one. In Polish says MiG-21 SPSM, and again in English we have for this one we have a piece of paper in English. This is again the PFM, and oh lord, this thing has an insane looking gun pod down here. If you can see, 2 barrels sticking out. Yeah, this is that's crazy. And you have a couple of the rocket pods underneath the wings, and again regards the fuselage, obviously fairly similar to the SU series and exactly the same as the previous one here. And the last but not least of the MiG-21 family, we have this little guy here. Well, it's not little, actually, it is completely massive. Let's have a little peek inside the air intake. Oh, I'm gonna need to fix the focus now. Okay, let's put it to somewhere here. Good. And again we have this one says MiG-21 US on the piece of paper in Polish. What that would be in English, again, I will not be able to tell you, but we can actually get slightly closer to you can see how big it is. You can get slightly closer to this thing and just admire it from the side on. You can see there's the space for both of the crew inside of there. And yeah, this guy here is probably a rocket pod down here. The massive thing below, again, I couldn't tell you. Could it be like a massive, like a rocket? I don't know. You can probably correct me in the comments, because I know you guys know a lot. And yeah, we're just gonna have a little walk around towards the rear. Iconic shaped, all the fins and everything in the tail looks really cool. And we're gonna have a little peek inside. Oh, look at that. This thing after burning is probably a sight to see. And yeah, and you can see like the backsides of all the aircraft on this side that we just had a nice little look-see.